We do have the Love Doctor on the line. Great. Let's go to Dr. Jamie Turndorf. Good morning, Doc.
Hi, how you doing?
We're doing great, and welcome to the Ron Ponder Show.
Nice to be with you.
I got one quick question for you, Jamie.
Just one?
Well, to start things off.
Okay, lay it on me.
Why do they call you the Love Doctor?
Well, actually, I'm known as Dr. Love, not the Love Doctor, Dr. Love, because I created the first relationship advice site on the web back in 1995, and I called it Ask Dr. Love.
Oh, I'm sure people loved that too, didn't they?
Yeah, and I've been in operation ever since. AskDrLove.com has been in continuous operation. And before that, I was doing a radio show called Ask Dr. Love out of Manhattan. So the name Dr. Love just stuck.
Well, I think it's very appropriate. And again, Dr. Love, Jamie Turndorf, welcome to our program. Now, in your experiences in being both on the radio and doing your website, what are some of the questions? What's a couple of the main questions, Jamie, that you get in your capacity as being Dr. Love?
Well, actually, the most common fight pattern that always comes up again and again, and this is what led me to write my new Hay House book, Kiss Your Fights Goodbye, it's because I'm constantly hearing couples fighting over something that's called the demand withdrawal negative escalation cycle, or husband withdrawal for short. I'm not talking about a natural form of birth control. No. I'm talking about this is the number one fight pattern, the number one cause of divorce and domestic violence, and Kiss Your Fights Goodbye shows you how to break it. And, what is it? It's this common pattern where, a woman's ragging on the guy and yelling at him, and he's withdrawing and distancing, and the more he distances and withdraws, the more mad she gets. That's husband withdrawal. So Kiss Your Fights Goodbye is my answer to the millions of questions I've gotten about why it happens and how can we stop it. And I have a method that shows how to break this number one cause of relationship fighting and breakups and divorce.
You mean outside of a muzzle?
Well, no, outside of, you mean like the barrel of a shotgun? No. When I was doing my book signing, somebody said to me, so how many times have you been married? And I said, 84, and every one was an experiment. I buried the corpse in the basement.
You're a funny lady, Dr. Love.
Do you want me to tell you a little bit about this?
Yeah.
The husband withdrawal, because this is so important for men and women to know, because once they understand what's going on, it's a great relief. So, and it's already the beginning of the cure. So it's heated fighting that triggers a biochemical imbalance in men's bodies that causes them to withdraw from conflict. And this is because men's bodies are hardwired to be hyperreactive to stress and danger. And this is a programming that dates back to prehistoric times when men were hunters, and they needed to react with lightning speed to flee or to fight dangerous prey. Well, modern danger is no longer the ferocious tiger. It's the pissed-off wife or girlfriend. And when she comes at him, baring her teeth and berating him with criticisms, his body sees danger and involuntarily switches into autonomic nervous system arousal, or ANS arousal, which causes the fight-flight response. Now, this is behind the majority of fights. And since men don't physically want to fight their partners, most of them don't, they flee instead. But what women don't know is that there are various ways that men flee, besides the obvious way where they leave the room or the house, they avoid contact, hide out in the basement or the garage. But there are two more ways that men flee that are more subtle. The second type of fleeing I call verbal fleeing. Here the guy is making excuses, justifying, defending himself. He's verbally escaping responsibility. And the third type of fleeing that's the most subtle of all is mental or psychic fleeing, where the mind just takes a hike. The guy looks deaf, dumb, blind. He's wearing a no hablo inglés expression. He's drooling on his tie. He's physically present but mentally gone.
That happens every day on our program from 10 to 12.
You're in constant withdrawal. But the most important thing is because women don't know that these fleeing behaviors are biologically programmed. A woman gets hurt. She thinks, he doesn't care enough about me to stick around and resolve our fight. So when she takes his withdrawal reactions personally and feels hurt, her hurt morphs into anger. She turns up the heat, blasts him with her wrath, and then sets off more biological fire alarms, more fleeing, and this creates a downward spiral of relationship fighting that has divorce and domestic violence written all over it. So my method shows you how to stop this process.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what's the cure for that?
Okay, so it's very, very simple. No, read the book. No.
Buy the book, then read it, huh?
Here's a simple way. I'll give you 3 ways, and of course the rest I outline in the book, so I'll just give you some to give you a flavor of it.
Okay.
Remember I said a minute ago it's that heated fighting triggers this chemical imbalance? Well, guess what? Cooling the climate literally stops the fight-flight response, and the climate is cool, and the husband withdrawal magically disappears. And then guys just stick around to easily resolve the conflict with you. They actually want to stick around. So here's what I call 3 of my relationship climate control techniques. The first climate control technique is to identify and eliminate what I call our fight traps. Fight traps are those faulty, dysfunctional fighting tactics that everybody uses. They heat the climate. I break them into 2 categories, open warfare and secret warfare. Open warfare are those outright screw yous, name-calling, character assassination, I told you so, paybacks, right? Secret warfare is more subtle, but still heats the climate all the same. That's the I forgot, I recruit allies, silent treatment, and then the 3 Scrooges, nagging, whining, and complaining. Okay? It doesn't matter whether it's open or secret warfare, it heats the climate, causes more withdrawal. So you have to remember, whatever you say or do boomerangs back on you. And so while it feels good to get your rocks off in the moment, on the rocks is where your relationship's going to end up if you don't identify and ditch the fight trap.
Wow, we've got 2 minutes, Jamie.
All right, so I have other cool-down techniques. When the climate is cool, easy to resolve conflicts. I show you step-by-step how to do it. That's very simple.
Okay. Now, what's the name of your book, and your list your website as well?
Oh, it's Kiss Your Fights Goodbye, Dr. Love's 10 Simple Steps to Cooling Conflict and Rekindling Your Relationship. And the website is AskDrLove.com. Easy.
Okay, I've got one final question. Let's see, where's that list I've got here? Old scars from childhood. How do they impact your relationship? And
that's a great question.
You got 60 seconds.
All right, that's the second cool-down technique, okay? Because our old scars always heat the relationship climate and cause more fighting. How? Our brains are always comparing present-day injuries with the wounds we suffered as kids. I call this the emotional lake effect. Mm-hmm. And we are dipping into the reservoir of our unconscious just like the actual lake effect. And when we do, we're churning up all kinds of old pain and hurt, don't even know we're doing it, and then we dump that whole bag of crap on our partner. That heats the climate. So the way out, guess what? Stripping. And I'm not talking about getting naked. Getting naked. I have a technique I outline in Kiss Your Fights Goodbye where I show you how to strip away the overt fight content, because that actually acts as a smoke screen that blocks you from seeing the real old scar.
Well,
it's not the dirty laundry necessarily; it's other things that are fueling you.
Well, speaking of stripping, one final question that I see here, I just saw. What about sex fights? How common are they, and how can you steer clear of them? That might hurt, wouldn't it?
You mean to steer clear of the sex fight?
No, to have a sex fight, that would kind of hurt, I would think.
Oh, yes. You got to watch the niblets. So, yeah.
Bad girl.
I'm very bad. So, again, in my chapter, I call it the Battle of the Bulge. I show you how to use a technique that I have invented called reading between the sheets that helps you uncover and resolve the real meat of the matter, because very often our sex fights conceal other deeper issues.
Okay, let's go to a commercial. Let me thank the good doctor, Dr. Jamie Turndorf, author and the Love Doctor. Doctor, we appreciate this. We're going to be back in touch with you.
No, I love seeing you. Well, seeing you. I felt like I saw you. So have a great Valentine's Day.
Great. Thank you, doctor.
Take care.